Well, hey everybody. I am Aloy Lasanta, and I am the creator of Part-Time Gods, and I am here to run this game once again for Geek Therapeutics. It's probably one of my favorites to run here. Today we have a small group of only 2 players, but we're going to have just as much fun. We're going to have 6 players worth of fun. It's going to be amazing. So the 2 characters that we have here, the 2 that were selected, was Mina Wu, the goddess of light, who is a temp worker. She works at a casino, like, walking around with chips. Uh, and she is also the goddess of light. And then we have Wade, who is a tech billionaire. I think he's probably a millionaire. No, his wealth isn't high enough to be billionaire. He's just a millionaire.
No, it's just a millionaire.
Like tens of millions, but like you're not quite billion. So he's a tech millionaire. Fun thing about him, he is the god of cold, and he got all of his wealth by creating an app called Cold Shoulder, which is a way for you to block a person across multiple platforms with just one click of a button. And he makes millions out of that because, of course, you would out of that sort of, app. And it looks like we just got another player, Rob.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Did you choose a character?
Oh, I'll take the death guy if nobody else has him.
All right, so we're going to go with Marlin. So awesome. Marlon. Not a problem. And Marlin. 5-4. So that actually means that your Pantheon pool here is actually 3, because you have a what is called a Pantheon pool. It's in the chat. I put it there. And that is basically dice that if we were playing in person would be in the middle of the table. And those dice can be pulled for various effects or whatever, or just for bonus dice, as long as everybody else at the table is okay with that. It is a shared resource for the group. So Marlin is the god of death, and he also runs his recently deceased father's boxing gym. So that is his kind of backstory. He's so he's kind of coming up in the fighting world and whatnot. So he can beat an ass if he needs to. Sorry if that's no, you know what? That's PG-13. No. I think we're okay.
We can say ass, right?
He can beat a donkey.
Yeah.
Yes, he can totally beat a mule. Exactly. So just to go through kind of the setup for the game, Part-Time Gods is a game where you play regular people who are imbued with the power of a god. This could come as it being handed down to them. They could just spontaneously erupt. So if you're just super beautiful, maybe you become the goddess of beauty. Or sometimes you might just be walking by where 2 gods are fighting, and when one god gets defeated, whatever they were the god of, now you're the god of. So it can happen completely accidental as well. And what ends up happening is a pantheon is usually a collection of gods who kind of live in the same city and in the same area, who don't necessarily want to fight with each other. So instead they kind of bond, and they create like a pact so that they can defend each other from outside threats. And that's basically where pantheons kind of come from. So this 3-person pantheon is of very disconnected people, but you have kind of all agreed that we'll defend each other if something happens, essentially. So good stuff. So the system that we use here uses D10 pools. Most of the rolls will involve a skill plus a skill of some sort. So you'll see on your sheet, there are 20 skills. And if, for instance, you wanted to sneak around in the forest, you would get your stealth and your survival. Whatever those numbers are, you'd roll that many D10s. So in the case of, let's see, Mina has 3 stealth and 1 survival. So you roll 4 dice. Anything 7 to 9 is 1 success. 10 counts as 2 successes. And general difficulties is anywhere from 1 to 5. depending upon how hard I really want to make something. Most things are like 1 or 2, unless I'm really trying to put some like behind it. So there's that. That's skills. Now, whatever you're the god of, though, you can also manipulate with what's called manifestations. Manifestations are usually linked then also with a skill. So and the way that the manifestations work is each one is a way that you can manipulate whatever you're the god of. So this is how we can kind of mess around with a Mad Libby kind of system of I'll be the god of whatever I want. So if you're using Aegis is you're going to be using your dominion for protection or for healing, that sort of thing. Beckon is for summoning or banishing. Journey is for if you're using it for travel. Minion is if you're using it to control sentient creatures. Puppetry is for controlling non-living things, telekinesis, making things float, moving things around. Oracle is for sensory. Ruin is for damaging. Now, that doesn't mean that other uses of other manifestations can't damage, but if the intent is to damage, then it would be ruin. Then shaping is for shaping, whether yourself or something else or the environment. And then soul is for manipulating incorporeal aspects of what you're the god of. So summoning spirits, casting illusions, that would be soul. So if you don't have any levels in a thing, you can't do that thing. Anything else that you have at least 1 in, you can try, but obviously the more dice you have in it, the better you'll be at it. So there's that. And it's the same thing. You would basically say, I want to do this thing. And we would figure out what 2 things we're going to add together, roll that many dice. 7s to 9 is 1 success, 10s count as 2. It's pretty simple, going forward. That's literally going to be the system that we're going to use for everything that we do. On your sheet, you will have 2 things. Well, you'll have a lot of things, but you'll have blessings. Blessings will usually give you an additional dice for specific uses, or might give you extra little abilities that you can use. So that's really fun. So read those. And if you have any questions, let me know. Your curses are ways that you can introduce complexity into a scene. So, for instance, if I have Mina up on my screen. So if we're using Mina, she has one of her curses, which is just called whatever, right? So if the 3 of you are like, we need to do this, and this is super important, and, it might be that Vanessa's like, well, Mina went to go do it, and she really had the intent to do it, but she got bored along the way, so it didn't really happen. What that does is it gives the group Pantheon dice. So you notice, and again, that pool in the middle that you guys can kind of pull from for things. That's what curses are for. Adds complexity, gives you Pantheon dice. Those are proactive, not reactive. So, if Vanessa was like, I tried it a bunch and now I'm bored of it, so it doesn't count. So you wouldn't activate it that way. You'd activate it as in, I'm not even going to attempt this. She got bored along the way. So, all right. So go ahead.
The curses are something that we initiate as something, wait, our character would not complete this? Or are they also sometimes something you would tell us on how, hey, your character chickened out?
It can be either. But what I'm saying is that it's always going to be an active thing. It's not going to be like after the fact, for Wade, for instance, because a curse usually implies that something bad happens. So as a result, so like Wade has, what is it? He has no one to lead. So, it's, if you're like, I don't know what to do here and I have no one to delegate to, and you're like, I just do a terrible job at this thing, so it's like, you can just say he did it, but he did a bad job at it. And then we deal with that in the coming scenes after that, because we've already established he did a terrible job. So, and it's more narrative and stuff. So it's not like, well, if you did a terrible job, it means a -2 to the thing. It's really just, we play around with it. It's part of the game itself. Every character has what are called fragments. That's 3. You see the 3 boxes there underneath that. Everybody has 3 fragments, and what that will do is, it says it right under there, it will give you 3 successes towards a normal skill roll or 2 successes towards a manifestation roll. And that's successes, not bonus dice. So usually by spending a fragment, it means you want that thing to happen. So, or you have an ability that requires you to use it, because some of the abilities require that you use a fragment. The more powerful ones do. Next to that, you have your free time and wealth. I will be keeping track of your free time and wealth as we go through the game. Wealth will go, the more you spend, you might have to go back to work in order to make more money. Free time, you do have to spend free time to engage in a scene. Okay, so, and when you get to 0 free time, we will deal with that when we get there. Which will happen to Wade quite a bit, because that's how his character works. He has all the money and no free time, which is also how the world works. If you have lots of free time, no money, and if you have lots of money, no free time. So we have Wade, who has 8 wealth and 2 free time. We have Mina, who has 6 free time and 2 wealth. And Marlin's right there in the middle with 4 free time and 5 wealth. So, just right there in the middle. All right. So then everybody has truths. And these are things that are true about your character. Usually comes with like a little ability. When you're making your character, you can make up unique ones. I just use kind of static ones here. Relics, they're artifacts. They should say how to use them on there. Those are pretty straightforward. They'll say, hey, you can do this thing if you do a thing. Let's see. Worshippers. So let's go to bonds first. Bonds are basically those things that keep you mortal. Those are those pieces of your humanity that are kind of keeping you connected to your mortal life that you kind of have to deal with every so often. So those things usually have a number of boxes next to them. That's their level. You can ask them for favors or utilize them in the game by what is called straining them, which is essentially damaging them. And you can devote scenes to them in order to heal them. So, again, it sounds lofty, but it works in the game. Mina has her sister. Wade has his server farm, that it's super important to him.
Priorities.
And Marlin has the boxing gym, so like sometimes it's people, sometimes it's places, sometimes it's groups. So there's that. And so then we have that. So, and vassals are, and I think only Wade has a vassal. Vassals are essentially like bonds, but they're mythological creatures. They're divine creatures that are, usually like bonds, but they can fight beside you and go off on errands and do a bunch of different stuff. You can also send your bonds out on errands, which is fun, but just be careful what you send them to do. Same thing with worshippers. So you usually have a certain number of levels of a worshiper, and they are usually designed to do certain things. So if you use them outside of the thing that they're designed for, they can try it, but they're not going to be good at it. In particular, looks like you have zealots. So zealots are for if you want crimes committed basically in your name. Like if you're like, hey, I need somebody to go set that car on fire. Okay, let's go do that. That's what those are for. Don't go ask them to, go and case a joint. Like they'll go case the joint, and if something happens, they'll burn the joint to the ground. Like that's just how that happens. Be careful with zealots. And let's see. Oh, and damage is tracked both physical and mental. And there you go. So that's the general gist of all of the stuff that's on the sheet. Do any of you have any particular questions before we jump into the game itself?
I think I'm good to go.
Yeah, no doubt I will have questions as we go along, but I think a lot of this will also just address itself.
Yeah. Rob, anything?
Oh, very similar to our game. Cool.
All right. Well, then we will begin with, let's see. I'm going to start with you, Vanessa. What do you think that Mina is doing at 1:30 a.m. on a Saturday? So Saturday morning. So it was Friday evening. And so it's 1:30 a.m. on a Saturday. What are you doing this
Well,
particular time?
Most likely just passed out.
All right, so you're just sleeping. Got it.
Yeah, that's what I would like
Oh,
to be doing. Yeah.
okay. All right, so you are sleeping. All right,
Sort of
what
thing.
about Wade? What do you think Wade is doing at 1:30?
Wade being the millionaire tech guy that he is, I don't think he sleeps a lot, so he's probably deep in some sort of coding issue that has been bothering him for a while. I think he's and I think Wade, I had a look at the guy, I think he's probably listening to some, which is something he doesn't share with a lot of other people because he's a little ashamed of it, but he's probably listening to some 80s hair metal while he does that because he just finds glam rock very empowering.
So hold on though, are we talking poison or are we talking like rat? Because there's differences in the hair metal here.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm thinking the Sweet, maybe a bit of Alice Cooper, like the shock rock style.
Okay. That's flavored a little bit differently. I like that though.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's
which is why he doesn't share this often? It's not a part of his brand or his image. It's really just something for himself.
Exactly. I think if like the tech millionaire was like, "Hey, by the way, I listen to lots of Alice Cooper," people would be like, "Really? Really?" Maybe. I don't know. Alice Cooper, he's reformed. It's all good. He plays golf. I don't know if y'all know that.
I did. I wish I didn't, but I did.
Do you think that you're doing your coding at your server farm or at your office?
Probably server farm.
All right, so you're at the server farm.
Yeah.
All right. And Rob, what do you think that Marlin is doing at 1:30 Saturday?
Sleeping.
He's sleeping as well? Very cool. All right. So that's going to put you here at 5-6. So what I'm doing is the last page of the packet that I sent you guys is the territory map. And I'm just trying to figure out where you guys are before stuff starts happening. And I figure out if you're nearby stuff that's happening. So if you're saying like Marlin's sleeping, well, he sleeps at the gym. So he's at 0.56. The server farm is at 6.4. And Mina, so Mina's just kind of, she does couch hopping. So we're just going to hit a random point on the map as to where she is. And I have
anywhere.
What's that?
Could be anywhere. You
could be anywhere. 6-9 is what I rolled. So you are at the tattoo shop. You're at Gabriel's tattoo shop, which is a character that we're not playing, but you're going to be at the tattoo shop.
Cool.
Because he lets you, he's out of town. He took his fiance out of town on a trip. And you guys are holding down the fort while he's gone, but he lets you sleep in the back room of the tattoo parlor. So I like it. Good. All right, so now let's see where things start happening. 8-9. Ooh. Okay. That is your worshippers map. Okay, so you, well, I mean, the only one that's awake, basically, there is essentially like a giant boom that comes from the area of the town, basically where Mina's worshippers live. I rolled 8-9 on the map. So over there, basically by where you're around there, Mina, but also right next to where your worshippers are. And that actually means you're going to have to strain your worshippers by 1.
Oh, no.
Yes, because
right off the bat.
It's you'll just mark off one of the boxes for your worshiper.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a giant boom. With you being so close, even though you're sleeping, with you being so close, it's going to immediately startle you awake. Obviously, with you being awake, Wade, you'll just hear it. And And then Marlin, you'll have like a slightly delayed reaction, but it'll take you a little bit to get there since you were sleeping. But you get jostled awake mostly because even after there's this loud boom coming from the south, eastern part of town, you also feel like there's a pull on your sparks, which is your divine spark, that seems to be telling you that there's something mystical happening there. There's something magical happening in that location. So if something is happening around your territory, you sense it if it's divine in nature. So the question is, obviously, again, it's loud. There's it echoes, through pretty much like everywhere. So I guess the question would be, what is your response to this explosion, as well as the divine pull there? So what are you guys thinking?
I would definitely be worried about my worshipers. Like, oh shit, what just happened?
Yeah,
Probably stumble my way off of the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And make my way towards the large explosion sound, whatever just happened.
So you're going, you're going there. You're rushing there.
I'm just going.
Okay. What about Wade?
Well, I'm curious, but I'm also busy. So, and I don't know, because you said Marlin felt some sort of a mystical pull that his dominion
all of you
is
would
involved.
have. All of
I
you
would have. Right. Okay. So could I sense, because I don't think Wade likes doing things himself. Could I send someone to go and check it out for me?
You could send Calic. He's the one. You could send him if you wanted to.
Oh. Yeah. Would that already check one of my 2 boxes that I have for him?
Only if you were making him do something very specific. If you're just go see what that is, I think it's fine. I don't think we need to strain that relationship. He's more annoyed than than put out.
I'm this close to figuring out this tiny little coding bug that's been bothering me for a while. So I'm just going to tell Kalik to just go see what's happening.
I love it. Okay, cool. Well then you'll be playing Calic then, I guess, in the scene. Cool. Well, unless until you actually come into the scene. All right, cool. And then Marlin, you kind of get jostled awake as well, but less for the noise, because you're not super close or anything. So less for the noise and more for the divine pull. That's mostly, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's a wrong tingle. I don't like that kind of tingle.
Not the good kind.
It's not the good kind of tingle. So what do you think? What do you think Marlin's move here is?
Did anyone die?
You are not close enough to that particular place to sense that.
Okay. I don't know what the distance stuff is on the sensing that kind of whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would if you're in a scene, if the thing is in the scene and it dies, then you would be able to sense it. Or actually, no, you're right. No, I'm sorry. Do you want to do a manifestation roll to see? Because you can, if you wanted to. Just generally, you wouldn't be able to sense it. But if you want to use divine magic, then you can.
I suppose. What would that take?
Well, let's see. Let's go to your character here.
For the oracle, and something like perception.
You have Oracle, which is 1, Perception 1, so that's 2. So you could roll 2 dice and see how far you can sense.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you. So additional dice can be gotten or obtained. Gotten. That sounds wrong. You can get I don't even know if it is wrong now in my brain. Wait a minute. It sounds wrong though. So you can obtain additional dice for a roll, either from your Pantheon die, or spending fragments for additional successes, or you can spend free time. You can spend a free time for 2 additional dice. So that's part of that there. it denotes like you're spending extra time doing it, so you get the extra dice.
Good to know.
3 and a 2, nothing.
3 and a 2. Okay. Did you want to leave it there, or did you want to spend free time or whatever? You can just leave it at a failed roll and say, "Oh, I didn't mention." Yeah.
I'm going to second guess and take a Pantheon die.
Do we want to use it for that?
Well, and that's the question, because Pantheon dice everybody has to agree. So
Yeah.
you guys should be like, "Nah, why don't we hold off on that?" Like, you can do that too.
Save it for
Like,
the big stuff.
yeah, everybody has to agree.
Right. Well, I think Wade's probably not convinced that anything so catastrophic is happening that it will require our shared Pantheon die.
Okay. So we'll skip the Pantheon die. So it's fine. Okay, cool. All right. So with that in mind, since Mina immediately rushed to the scene and was actually super close, you will be the first one on the scene, and then we will see what happens after that. Where's the, I lost it. Okay, here it is, sorry. So when you arrive, you hear like in the distance, you hear like the ambulances and all that. Like you can hear like stuff is happening. Stuff will probably be here soon. But as you arrive on the scene, you see that it's about a 2-block area of pretty much utter destruction. There's overturned cars, raging fires, several injured people. So there's a bunch of fire without the fire engine or anything. Like, it's probably going to start engulfing the area. There's a man trapped sideways under a car. So there's that. There's also generally injured people in the area with broken bones, lacerations, some burns. So, I mean, you arrive to the scene and it is chaos.
Oh, fun. Okay. Are all the people that are hurt, are they all my followers, or do I only have like a few? Or
your followers weren't actually in the area, like they're next to the area. So like the explosion, like they got kind of in the explosion, but they're not the people out here. So
trapped under the car or anything.
Right. No, it's none of these people are your worshipers.
I don't care about them. No, I'm kidding. Is there anything that would be able to tell me like what happened? What caused this? Like, was this like a gas leak, or was this like a divine comet of energy that just appeared?
Well, I mean, you could totally investigate the area.
Yeah.
Did you want to investigate around all of the screaming people and fire?
Yeah, pardon me.
You could do that.
Sir. Here, I'll just move your leg over to the side. Yeah, I guess the first thing would be I'd try to figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay. All right, cool. Calic is going to show up as well. So you can play as Calic now, Sam. Essentially, Calic, since he's level 2, has 4 dice to do whatever you want to do. He's going to do it with 4 dice. That's, regardless of what it is, because that's how that works. So I'm going to say Calic also shows up on the scene at this time as well. So you're going to start looking around the area for signs of maybe what happened. What do you think Calic's going to do, Sam?
I think Calic was probably going to recognize Mina and go and say hi, just sort of side up to her.
Totally.
I'm guessing you're familiar with my dire wolf. You've met. Yeah.
Hi, puppy.
Yeah. Wax.
You probably wouldn't enjoy that, but
well, I think Calic probably might, because Wade is not very affectionate that way. So if
who's a good boy?
If Mina would occasionally give him some scritches, he would probably really enjoy that. Yeah.
What I will point out is that Calic doesn't like Wade. That doesn't mean that he doesn't like other people.
Great. Just in the middle of all this chaos.
Yeah.
Mina
petting. Like, aren't you a cute boy? Oh, my leg! Sam, buddy, save me! Aren't you a good boy?
Yeah.
Priorities.
So what I'm going to say is, so Mina, you kind of start going towards, you kind of bypass the people, and you notice that there are, let me see, how do you do this? Hold on. All right, so yeah, so you have to make a perception and intuition roll.
Ooh, okay. Perception, I have 2, and then intuition, I think I'm really good at. Ooh, that's a 4.
So you have 6 dice to roll. Well, then you're going to do really good at this one then. And then,
let's
like I
hope.
said, Calic can roll as well, and he has 4 dice for it. So
a 0 is a 10, right?
correct.
Okay, so there's a 10 there. Ooh, there's 2 10s.
So that's 4 successes right there.
5 is a fail, 2 is a fail, 6 is a fail, and then I think that's another 2.
All right. Well, if it makes you feel any better, 4 is the most of like stuff you can get in terms of information. I have it like at stages. Yeah. So 4 is
nice.
If you got 4, like, you're gonna get it all.
No boost on that.
So not a boost on this one. What did you roll, Sam?
I got 2 7s and an 8 and a 1. So I don't know.
That's 3. So that's 3. No, the
3.
one.
Yeah.
There's a condition. It's called confused. If you get confused, then 1s start taking away. But otherwise, 1s don't do anything unless you roll 1s with no successes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's no successes and a whole bunch of 1s, oh, you done messed up, son. You done messed up. Okay, cool. Well, so yeah, so you got 3. So you'll notice that the let me see, at 3. So at 3, you notice that there's a building near the point where it seems like there was an explosion that came from there. There's an extremely large hole in it, as if someone might have crashed into it, like with a car, possibly thrown, something like that. The bricks have no scorch marks, though, like something might have shielded the wall from the impact of the explosion itself. But whatever flew into the wall was also large enough to create this giant, hole. There's nothing there now. So whatever made the hole is not there anymore. With the 4th success, you also notice that there is an inhumanly large red eyes kind of fading into a nearby shadow that was watching you. And in that moment, you feel like this cold shiver run down your spine. So you actually need to make a discipline and empathy roll for me. Actually, no, you're Mina. So you actually are immune to fear effects. So because you're immune to fear effects, you do not need to make that roll. Anyone else would have.
I ain't afraid no ghosts.
You ain't afraid, exactly.
If it is a ghost.
Well, and there were very large eyes, like each eye is the size of the person, so it's like big.
Wow, gosh.
So there's that. What I'll also say, and then everything is going to start happening where like the ambulance and the police and stuff are going to start showing up. But where am I here? Okay. So essentially, you see basically where the explosion would have happened. You see 2 people, a man and a woman, and they're lying there unconscious. Before you get a chance to actually like check them out or investigate them, that's when the ambulance and the police and stuff show up. So, and then of course they're starting to like taper stuff off and make sure all this stuff. Marlin, if you were planning on coming, the plan was for you to arrive pretty much after the police and everything arrive. Wade, if you were planning on coming. If not, Calic can still just kind of hang around if you want to do it that way.
Well, can Calic, since I guess maybe the police that are setting stuff or binding stuff off are maybe not completely sure how to handle a large dog walking around. Can he go to the unconscious couple that you mentioned and just have a bit of a closer look?
He can attempt it, but the paramedics and stuff are pretty much there on the scene.
Right.
So that would be harder to get there and not get waved away or whatever. Because Calic doesn't have to be a giant dire wolf all the time. Like he can appear as like a dog, so
Cool.
He's like Battle Cat, it's like when he needs to go into battle mode, he's a giant dire wolf.
Oh,
Otherwise,
awesome.
He's like a corgi or whatever. Whatever kind of dog you want him to be. I think Wiener Dog is, I think that's going a bit far with the cuteness, but
he would.
He's probably like a collie or something.
Yeah. Well, like being like a sheepdog, a collie, can he just walk on by, have a look?
Yeah, I mean he can look, yes. So let's see. Yeah, go ahead and make a roll your 4 dice, because you have 4 dice for everything.
See if I can see anything.
Like, let's figure out what dice pool we're using. It's Calic, so it's just 4
We're
dice.
using dog dice.
It's dog dice, exactly.
Yeah. That is a 6, and that is a 9. I got 1.
So 1.
Yeah, 1 success.
Yeah, he's not able to get a good look at anything with just 1 success. So, so you are actually already on the scene though too, Mina. So when the cops and the ambulances and stuff all start coming and they start kind of like, all right, miss, we just need you out of the area. Like, how does she respond to that?
She's like, all right, make sure, there's a guy under a car there screaming for help. There's 2 unconscious people over there. I think those people have like broken bones. Good luck. You can do this. I believe in you.
You give them a big thumbs up and they're like, wow, thank you. I wasn't sure before, like showing up I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it now with your encouragement. And then Marlin ends up showing up pretty much, Mina is now behind the police blockades and stuff. And then you see Marlin approaching now at this point. So, you guys are fellow Pantheon mates. Marlin, is there anything that you would like to do now being on the scene and seeing all the craziness?
No. Says he's reluctant. So he's going to hang back and just wait for people to die.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. Let's see here. Well, that's cool. Does anybody want to? So essentially what they're doing is they're carting off those 2 people. And I forgot to tell you, Vanessa, I'm sorry. Those 2 people, you got the sense that they have a spark in them. So there's like, they're somebody, right? The paramedics are loading them into the ambulance, into 2 separate ambulances. So they're about to probably be taken to the hospital.
Ooh, so maybe they were the targets of whatever the attack was. Oh goodness.
I have Mina, because I think only Mina saw the giant red eyes.
Yes.
Right. Any chance you would have pointed that out to Calic?
Yeah, I would have definitely pointed that out to Calic, trying to make sure only like Calic and also the god of death. What was his name again?
Marlin.
Marlin. I would have also said something to him as well, but trying to keep it, on the down low, so only we knew what I was talking about.
Right, because then I think without crossing stir, I think Calic would try and catch the scent of whatever that is, both to see if it's something that he recognizes and also to recognize it again should they run into it again.
Gotcha. And what I will say to that is that Calic smells around and doesn't smell a thing. He oddly even smells the lack of a smell. Like it's kind of crazy. Like like whatever was there, like consciously covered up its smell.
It sucked its smell back in.
Yes.
Before it, yeah.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Interesting superpower.
Yeah.
It is an interesting superpower. Wow, that would be okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. That would just be like the weirdest
Anti-smell
X-Men.
man.
So then obviously the story is now taking us towards the hospital. So obviously you guys can do whatever you want to in the meantime. The story follows the two people.
Yeah,
I only say that
definitely.
in our 2-hour session. Otherwise I would just let you run around and do whatever, but in a 2-hour session,
Party.
the story is going in that direction. So
Yeah.
And I'm guessing there aren't a whole bunch of options for hospitals in this area, and maybe we're
they're
able
going to go to the
recognize
nearest
images.
hospital, which I actually
That
rolled.
makes sense.
This is the thing about this game too, is that since a lot of the game is about time management and like how much free time you have, I roll randomly for random like places. So like, okay, where's the hospital? Okay, the hospital is over here. If I actually rolled super close, it's like 2 blocks away. But had I rolled like the other side of the territory map, it would have taken longer, meaning more free time that it takes to get there and to engage in the scene and stuff. And it makes you have to kind of run out sooner of your free time. And and then other things start happening after you get to 0 free time. We'll find out eventually. So, but I rolled 10-8, which, the other one was 8-9. So like, it's right there in terms of the actual hospital.
Awesome.
So, I guess Wade will eventually show up for the hospital. It seems a little bit more his scene than the whole catastrophe thing. That seems messy. This he can handle.
Sense. That makes sense to me. Okay, cool. Well then, I just marked off. Is Marlin also going to the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Marlin's going to the hospital. Mina's going to the hospital. Wade's going to the hospital. Calic is. I'm going to say that he is right now trying to find that scent. Like that's what he's doing. He's going to come back next scene and be like, well, I couldn't find it, dudes. So right now he is in the process of doing that.
Cool.
So, and just so you know, so on the sheet, I went ahead and printed it out because it's just easier for me to keep track of stuff that way. Essentially, you can move 4 blocks for free. And then any additional 4 you'd move would cost you an additional free time, or you can move 3 additional for wealth. So that's where, Wade comes in. He'd be like, I'll just drop some wealth and I'll just get us all there. I'll save us free time by spending wealth. So it's fun. Wealth is a good thing to have, which obviously it is.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we get to the hospital. So the hospital is even more chaotic since it was so close to the explosion site. So it quickly filled with a bunch of victims. And obviously it's combining with the normal early Saturday morning like injuries in the ER that already just normally occur. So the staff is keeping their cool, but could be overwhelmed soon if this keeps up. When the 2 ambulances arrive, I'll just say like you also kind of followed the ambulance. So you're kind of showing up along with them, but you see the staff puts them in separate emergency kind of waiting rooms with police escorts. You're noticing posted at each of their doors. So they're each in 2 different rooms with police in front of their doors. So the question here would be, how would you like to do this? This is kind of a reconnaissance thing here. So you can do some reconnaissance, figure out who they are, figure out what's going on. So some of the options might be maybe like positioning yourself nearby the police and maybe just eavesdropping, or going and chatting up the nurses to maybe figure out maybe what's happening. You could swipe the medical report or hack the system. You know, like
Ooh.
you could try and sneak your way into the hospital rooms past the police if you have a way to do that. You know, so kind of depends on, you know, what route you all want to take, and, you know, let's make it fun. Each of you should take a different one. So
Okay.
Uh,
I mean, we have two talking people. You could probably hack the system if you wanted to.
Oh, right. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. I could try for stealth since I'm actually fairly decent at stealth.
Okay.
I can we could combine that because I'm a bit of a talker. So I could sort of start speaking to the police, simultaneously try if I can actually find something out from them, but also distracting them or anyone around, giving you a chance to sneak in.
Yeah.
I'll spend a fragment and just walk past them.
or we could do that. Yeah.
Well, he can do that.
Yeah.
That's a thing Marlin can do.
Cool.
Okay. So you're going into the room. That's what Marlin's doing. All right, cool. So he's going to do that. The other two, what are you going to do?
I'm going to have a secret agent moment, like trying to sneak along the walls behind the police as he's trying to talk to the police. All
right, so you're trying to get information from the police, and you guys are working on that together, is what you're saying. All right, cool. So let's do you guys first, because stuff happens when you go into the room. Let's do you two first, and then I'll shift to the room.
That doesn't sound ominous.
It's slightly ominous, but not super ominous. It's stuff's gonna happen with you guys too. So the way that joining forces works essentially is, since you would be combining two skills, each of you would pick which skill you would be throwing into the mix. So if yours is, if you're like, I'm sneaking, and, you know, Sam is like, well, I'm going to be talking, then you roll your influence and you roll your stealth, but the combination of your successes is going to be what the success is.
Cool.
You don't roll anything else. You're just rolling one skill for each of you.
Okay.
I have an ability or a blessing, the Prime the Mark, which means that I gain a +1 empathy to read someone and figure out what they want to hear. Can I use that to sort of smooth over the conversation I'm having with this cop, just seeing what is the best way to engage this guy?
Yes. So make that roll first. So that's going to be, let's make that an empathy and perception.
Right. Let's see. I actually have.
Oh no, he's not very empathetic unless he's trying to figure out how to get stuff out of people. So so you have 4 dice though, because he actually is pretty good at perception.
I am very perceptive. Okay, so I'll see. Still, I'm not that empathetic, but I'll see what I can glance. That is 1 success.
1 success. Okay, so you're kind of like you kind of like eavesdrop a little bit with the police officer, and like you can tell that like he doesn't really want to be there. Like he actually has a newborn at home, and he actually would really love to be home. Like you just hear him kind of talking to another cop about it. So, you know, obviously if you were to give him something in terms of information or whatever that maybe might make it seem like he might be able to leave sooner. But like without saying like, yeah, just go home, I'll take care of it, because obviously you're not a cop. But if you're able to convince him somehow that, ooh, these things link up and maybe that's a new lead in the case or something, then you would be able to, you know, really kind of get over on him. So that's if you wanted to do that. You don't have to, but that's something you can go for if you wanted.
I think I'm gonna go with Wade's take on what you just said, which is not that not that pleasant, because he doesn't feel like getting down to this guy's level, but he also feels that he doesn't want to be there. So maybe if he just puts on an air to give the cop an idea, like this guy's not worth my making my own job harder over, and I'm just gonna give him what he wants. I'm gonna I'm gonna act sort of entitled and like, hey, I know your head officer, and I just need to be around here for a while, but I just want to be too much of a bother to actually bother about. Give him the idea. If I just hear this guy out and let him talk, he will eventually just go away and leave me alone.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah. Let's do that then. I like that. That's good. I guess we're gonna use influence, and I'll give you an additional die, and then you're rolling stealth for you to kind of be sneaking by. And where are you trying to get to? Where are you sneaking to?
Trying to get in the room.
So you're trying to get into the room too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Marlin's gonna make that super easy.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be like, I'll try and like sneak in.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna make a roll to see if you get in there, but Marlin will be in there regardless. So we'll see if you're gonna join him in there. So go ahead and you roll your stealth, and then you roll your influence with a +1 bonus.
That's a 1 success.
1 success.
Yes.
We'll see how many Sam gets then.
I rolled 4 9s.
Hey.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's 5 successes altogether. So I will say that that's definitely enough for Mina to slip into the room. So
trip as I'm going.
Yes. All right. So the two of you now are in the room. Of course, Marlin is only visible to you. Marlin is he's a mask of Jana, and they can spend a thing, and then like mortals can't see them, essentially. So you guys can see them, you can see him, but they can't see him. So he can just be like, I'll just go in. So see you later. So good note on that. So let's see here. All right, so once you're inside the room, you have the option to read the patient charts if you wanted to. You don't recognize the patients. They're not like this is the one that you're in here. So this is the woman's room. So you don't recognize her. She's not like a god from around here or anything like that. You still feel that you feel her spark, but you feel like it's weakened. Like she's either like a brand new god, or she's a powerful god who has had like her power sucked out of her, maybe, but she feels like she has a weak spark. She is handcuffed to the bed, and she looks distressed, like she's experiencing a terrifying nightmare. And she's murmuring under her breath about spiders. So yeah. So what do you two do in the room?
Well, my first instinct is to just put the pillow over her face and hold it down until she's gone.
Wow.
Okay.
I would definitely try to stop that.
Why would that be your first inclination, I guess would be my question.
Well, we're supposed to be hiding magic, right? If these guys are in police custody and they start doing weird shit, then that directly contravenes what my character believes.
I guess, in a way. In a way, yeah, but you also don't know if they were even the ones to do anything. They are another god, but if you just put a pillow over every god you encounter's face, most of your interactions would be very short. So
I'm a god of death. I don't wear like the interactions with death are pretty short. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. You can do the pillow thing eventually, but let's try and see who she is, what's going on. But I like your idea, sure, but let's see what we can get out of her first.
You want to interrogate a sleeping woman? That's
Well,
way less
I'm gonna
likely.
try and see if I can do something.
Okay,
Um,
I guess.
I don't know what kind of magic I'm able to do, but being like the goddess of light and being immune to fear, is there some way that I could like put light into her dream and help her conquer her, like if it seems like she's fearful of whatever she's experiencing, is there a way I could like get into her head
Let me look at
and
your character.
calm
Let's
that
see.
nightmare?
That would
I don't know if
most
that's a thing I could
likely
do.
be soul if you were going to do something like
Oh God,
that.
I don't have any soul.
Let me.
Also,
You
does
have
that
no
count
soul,
as
of course. The
I
thing
have
that I
no,
think
I
it
have
might
no
be.
soul. My character and myself, I just have no soul.
Vanessa has no soul. So yeah, so I would say like that's a cool idea. Like I would have let you roll for it if you had any soul. So I would say though, yeah, I would say you're not able to do that specifically. So
curious.
Can I try to like slap her awake?
Does
you
me
can definitely try that. I'm fine with that.
does
Go ahead,
me
Rob.
trying to put the pillow over the woman's face count as unpredictable?
I guess in a way. However, of course, remember that if you are
Well, if it affected a perception of him, is what I'm saying. So if her perception changed, or somebody, does that count? Or I'm
I would say there's not really anybody in the room, but if you wanted to do it and you wanted to activate that, then I could make that happen.
I'm just curious as to what the conditions are. I'm not. I guess I wasn't quite clear on what triggers it. If it affects, if it's something that affects the other god's perception of me, or if it's like a mortal perception.
It's essentially if it affects perception and like causes complications and makes it harder to do things. That's essentially what you're doing.
Okay.
So I'm fine if you wanted to activate that. So.
Well, I mean, is that, yeah, because that's the thing that like, if Vanessa's like trying to like intervene, right? Because I'm trying to cover this up essentially, like, so if she's like pushing me aside and like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yo, what did you expect?
Well, and with unpredictable, so you start with the pillow, and at that very moment, a doctor walks in. And if you look at him, he has a name badge, says Dr. Jones. And of course, Marlin is invisible. So there's a pillow over this person's face, and Mina's the only one in the room putting a pillow over somebody's face. So
shit.
So he walks in, and normally there will be like a roll to try and convince him that you're no threat or whatever, but that's gone now. So because he thinks you're trying to murder his patient. So he immediately runs out of the room and calls the cops in, and they start coming in. So yay, that's fun.
Oh.
You're gonna get me arrested.
Now they can't see me still, right?
They still cannot see you unless you say you drop it. They can't see you.
Okay.
So they're actually going to come in. They're going to at least take you into custody or something.
It was a ghost.
Can I? Because I'm still outside of the room and I was talking to these guys, so I clocked this happening probably.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah.
I would like to just put my hand to the side of the wall somewhere. I don't really like touching stuff over here because the hospital seems dirty. But I want to see.
You can put your glove on first if you want.
Yeah,
you're touching public things glove.
Yeah. And I just want to sort of freeze over a section of the floor to make it extremely slippery, to hopefully give my buddies a chance to get out of the room while these guys are stumbling over each other.
I like that. That's cool. Let's do that. So they're going in. They're like trying to grab Mina to like, not arrest her because they don't really know what's happening. They're just like, we need to take this lady away because the doctor told us to, and we'll figure out what's happening.
I want to have these two cops sort of sliding into the doctor and just becoming a tumble of people and get them out of the doorway.
It's going to become, we were talking about the Three Stooges earlier. So it's going to become an episode of the Three Stooges. It's going to be awesome. So let's see. Do you have any, because for some reason my PDF reader is loading and perpetually here. Do you have, I would say, either beckon or shaping? Do you have either of those?
I have both, but I'm better at beckon. I have a two for that.
So, and the difference there would be, do you want to summon slick ice over the floor, or do you want to turn the floor into ice? It's a subtle difference, but that's the difference there.
I want to summon slick ice over the floor.
Okay.
Because I also realized that I want to have the possibility to sort of remove it if my buddies are trying to get out and are facing the same issue that
that's smart. That's guys. Smart. I like it.
So slide them into the room and have the ice sort of fade away behind them.
And then let's say, since you're trying to do it like really fast, roll speed and beckon.
Yeah.
Since you're trying to get it in, like, because the cops are rushing in right now, and you're like, it's there.
Right.
Quick draw.
So I got speed and beckon. That's 3 dice. And none of them are successes.
Oh, okay. Well,
sorry.
It's cool. Do you have, you can spend free time or Pantheon dice if everybody says so, or fragments. Those are your options. If you wanted to like make it happen, if you're okay with it failing, then that's okay too.
I guess I'll spend a fragment because that'll give me 3. That'll give me 3 successes. I'm guessing that's
exactly
be enough.
Well, it would be 2 successes for a manifestation roll, but even 2 is enough. 2 is enough for what you were trying to do. It was a pretty simple thing.
Yeah, I'll spend a fragment on this.
Okay. So just mark that off. And then so the floor gets slick with ice, a sheet of ice, as the police officers are trying to, grab you and bring you out of the room. Do you resist, or are you just kind of going with it, or what are you doing? Are you trying to run?
Me?
Yeah.
Is it I don't know how much time I have or if this would be possible, but could I like swipe the medical charts and bolt?
You could do that. I would allow you to do it. So that's not even that hard of a thing. Okay. But it would also be, oh god, it's like, so you'd have some stealth in there, but not really. It's kind of like, so what I'm gonna do, so you're trying to like book it, but also steal the thing.
Yeah, like on my way out, grab it and go. If I was kind of close to the bed.
Okay, so
this is mine, run away.
Let's make it speed and intuition.
Oof.
I don't know what you have in those.
Okay, yes.
Let's make it good. Speed and intuition, and then I want you to make a separate stealth roll.
Okay.
With just stealth, like no additional anything.
I am happy with this. So that first one for survival and intuition is going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5.
Okay, I thought you were saying 5 successes. I was like, wow.
Wait, I got 2 7s.
Okay.
And then I got 2 10s.
Wow. So, okay.
I can count 2. Yeah. So that's 6 total. 6 total, right? Sometimes I can't. That's 6 total. It's like an on and off.
No, that's good. I'm gonna say you definitely boosted as well over what I was looking for. Yeah. So you guys got an additional Pantheon die. Pantheon dice come from activating curses, rolling really well, or rolling really poorly. So those are the ways you get it.
Awesome. And then you said a stealth check as well, right?
And in a separate stealth check, but I'm going to give you a +1 to that as well.
Nice. So that's 4 total now.
Hey, 4 is pretty good.
That's 8 and that's 2 successes.
Okay, that's enough. You just needed 1.
Nice.
So so I'm going to say you're able to run out, and you have the doctor notes, the medical pad. What is Marlin doing during this?
Standing there.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I mean, I assume you kind of move out of the way so that you're not bumping in. So
I'm just like, as soon as they come in, I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
And then
No touchy.
when she bolts, I'm just like, yep.
Good luck.
They're gonna chase her.
Yeah, I guess the next question would be, where are you running to? And Wade, do you follow her, or you just watch her run past you? And you're like, oh.
I guess now I'll follow her.
If that stealth roll was stealthy enough, I'd probably try to like find a closet to hide in and read the notes.
Okay, so I'll say you and Wade find basically a nearby closet, like maybe a few doors down, and they're just, they're like, oh man, she was so fast, and they just kind of they're chasing where they think you are right now. Okay, so we have that going, and
this is a tiny closet. Oh,
this is very tight closet. It smells like latex in here. This is disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
So if you can make a knowledge and medicine roll, and that's for you to be able to like decipher, medical jargon and bad doctor writing.
Oof.
On the chart.
Is this Mina or?
Well, both of you are in the room, so either of you could.
Okay.
And if it works out, if you want to do teamwork, and one of you's good in medicine, the other one's good in the other, you guys can roll together too.
I'm not good at either.
I have some knowledge. I know stuff.
Okay. Are you good at medicine as well?
Not as much. I got 2 knowledge and 1 medicine.
Okay, I also have 1 medicine. If you want to.
Well, let's do it together.
Since we're in this together. Okay, I'll go for medicine then.
Sure.
Use your knowledge.
I'll use
because you went to college. That's a fail.
Yeah.
I can't read the writing. What even is this?
Okay. Well, I don't know all of this, but I know half of it. I got 1 success on my.
You got 1. Hey, 1 is something. 1 is something.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, of course now I can't.
Oh wait. Our successes are 7 to 9. 7 and up.
7 to 9 is 1. 10 is 2.
Right. Then I got 2 successes.
Hey.
I was not counting my 7.
Oh yeah, gotta count 7s.
Yeah.
Lucky 7s.
Gotta count the 7s. All right, hold on. My Adobe crashed, so I'm reopening my PDF. I apologize.
It rolled
Adobe
so many
crashed on my
ones.
shit all day, dude.
Like, oh my, like I had it open and it's like crash, and I'm like, oh. All right. All right, so I have to go over here and reopen it, because then I can tell you what you read on the chart, but it's in the thing.
Yeah, Wade is just reliving the 2 years of med school he did when he thought he wanted to become a doctor. This stuff is gross. It's all body parts and fluids, and this is why I got out of this.
I agree with that. I never wanted to do anything medical. I was like, nope. My mom was a nurse. She would come home and tell me stories. I'd be like, no, thank you.
No,
I'm good.
My wife's a nurse. That shit. Yikes. Yeah.
I'm glad I've never had to deal with any of it in person.
My mom was
but I
a
have heard
midwife for
stories.
33 years, and I assisted on 50 births. So,
Oh wow.
Oh,
wow.
That's kind of beautiful when you put it that way.
Yeah.
Beautifully gross.
But also blood and icky.
yeah.
yeah, I stayed out of the medical field.
Okay, so here, hold on. So the medical report here. So you got a success. You got 2 successes, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get 2 of the following pieces of information. So I guess all right, I guess 1 through 3. Which pieces of information do you want? 1, 2, or 3? Or you get 2 of them. Do you want 1 and 2? 1 and 3?
I'd say we definitely want 3.
Okay.
Mina,
Do you want to
can
pick the other one?
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
So he picked. Okay, I'll just read 1 then. I'm not like.
She kind of lost interest after she couldn't read the chicken scratch.
Right.
She's just waiting by the door, seeing if anyone's following.
So in the medical report, it says that the couple are Matt and Rebecca Fowler. So they're actually married. Matt is an organ donor, and Rebecca, who's the woman obviously in the room, Rebecca had a medical bracelet that said that she had diabetes. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing you saw. Rebecca's arm shows signs of drug use, but they've run tests and there were no drugs in her system. And the chart called for a number of blood tests to see how this, whatever is going on in her system might interact with her diabetes. And like, so they're still running tests right now because, she hasn't been there for very long. So they're still running tests, but yeah, so lots of needles, but no drugs in her actual system. And that you got her name, Rebecca Fowler, married to the other dude, and she has diabetes. So there you go.
Right. I guess I know a lot of people. I do a lot of networking. Do these names mean anything to me?
No. They're not like important in the tech world or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like they're normal people.
Peasants.
All right. So going back to Marlin, you're still in the room. Dr. Jones is kind of, frantically checking the patient and checking her vitals and stuff like that. Obviously took the pillow off of her head, and kind of checking her and all of that stuff and making sure the machines are all running right and whatnot. So are you actively doing anything else? Are you still just observing, or
stand there for a little bit? So as he's going over the page, I'm just going to see what he does, basically.
Okay.
And pay attention to okay, so is it what kind of injury may she have sustained? And are the woman and the man in the same room? Is my understanding?
No, they're in two separate rooms.
Separate rooms. Okay, thank you.
They're two separate rooms. Yeah.
So, so I'm gonna stand there and sort of observe what he's doing. I don't know. What would this character's reaction be to seeing somebody else with a spark? What's the main thing that I would want to get out of this?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like Highlander, right? It's like if two Highlanders see each other, they have there's two different reactions, right? There's either you're my mortal enemy and I need to kill you, or there's oh, that's a possible ally. You know what I mean? There was lots of allies in Highlander. I watched the TV show too. It was crazy. Oh, yeah. So there were too many alliances in the TV show. It's why are they all friends with each other? What's going on here? I thought this was about lopping off heads.
Right?
The murder.
Yeah.
No, so essentially it's just depending upon whether you feel threatened or whatnot. You are able to see that they're a god. You don't know what they're the god of or anything like that, but you sense that they are a god because your sparks can sense each other. And then it's based on you of what you would want to do in that moment. You're not there's a type of god called a puck eater. So when puck eaters see other gods, they're ooh, maybe I might want to eat their soul. But you're not that. You're a mask of Jana. So your job is to mask anything that might happen. And the fun part about it is if you spend a spark, that automatically happens. No mortal will see any crazy mystical divine things that happen in the area. They won't be able to see it. Okay. So there's that. So what would he do? I don't know. It's kind of a question. I mean, he's kind of weird, right? Because he when he sets his mind to something, he definitely does it, but he's also slow to kind of decide what to do. That's his crippling Achilles heel that he has, is that he's so I have to make the right move. Otherwise, what if something goes wrong? He overthinks everything. Because that's kind of how I built him.
So how long does the doctor hang out?
He's going to hang out for about 5 minutes before something else happens. Okay. So it's just depending upon what you're going to do.
Yeah. So I'll wait until he leaves the room.
Okay.
And then if I touch her, I know she's going to die in the next 5 days.
If you touch her, you will know if she will die in the next 5 days. And you can do that while he's in the room. That's not going to.
Oh, right. Because she's not mortal. Right. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah. She's going to die within the next 5 days.
Okay.
She definitely will. It just it for a fact. That's also his thing. That's one of his abilities. Is anybody he touches, he knows if they're going to die soon. It's really sad. Like I made this character super sad because he's like, I can't even have a drink with my friend because I'm always just worried he's going to die. You know. So
Oh.
I was like, you need to get comfortable with death. Fine with me. I'm totally fine with it.
Hey, so some people are more
difficult to be.
comfortable with it, but I mean, like the way that Marlin is written is like he became the god of death after the death of his dad.
Right.
You know, so it's like he's still more in mourning, and now he's realizing all these people around him will likely die. You know, it's like mystically he knows that they're going to die, and it's sad. So anyway, again, all of these characters were made at random, by the way.
Sort of. Okay, so his thing is he's trying to. Okay.
So what I will say is he hangs out in the room, you know, for about 5 minutes or so. One of the cops comes back into the room and he's just like, yeah, we didn't find her. You know, what's going on? Yeah. He's just like, well, you need to look harder. And in that moment where the cop comes into the room and says we can't find her, like the door slams shut and her eyes open and like the room just starts kind of vibrating in this kind of crazy way.
Wish I did the pillow thing.
Yes. All of the lights in like the whole building, so even in the closet that you're in, the lights start flickering. There's this really loud like pop, and like all the glass in the room, because it's, you know, it's like there's the glass to look outside, like all the glass shatters. You see that the handcuffs like unlock themselves, and anything that's made of metal in the room also just like breaks into pieces and starts swirling around the room.
Oh, okay, great.
So and essentially you're gonna have to make some rolls to not get hurt by the giant metal shards flying around the room. The police officer has no such luxury, and you see like he just turns into just mush as it just cuts through as the stuff is just going around. Dr. Jones actually gets buried underneath his body, so he's actually okay. He got a couple of injuries, but mostly he got under the body, and then the body kept getting all the metal things stuck in it. But for you, do you have an idea of how you would? Otherwise, I would be like, I'm going to make you make some dodges or whatever. But
yeah,
do you have another idea?
I'm going to stand there and let the pieces disintegrate before they hit me.
Okay.
So that'll be, I think, fortitude and aegis, maybe.
Okay. So how are you doing that? Your domain is death.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
the pieces of metal are not alive.
Not really alive. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, so because there's differences in the way that, like, if you were the god of like decay, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally, that totally works. You know what I mean? So
I got you. Yeah.
The wording gets tricky. Like I've had a god of death and a god of the dead in the same pantheon before, and they do different things.
Cool.
You know.
Cool. Yeah. Well, there's a dead body. So.
Oh, that's true. No, that's right. The cop died.
Body.
Yeah.
Well, he has a special thing that if people die around him, you guys get pantheon points.
Yep.
So.
Yay.
Oh.
Well, there is that.
Handy. And then I go, oh, that what? Do you feel that as one of these guys when a pantheon point goes up?
It's more a mechanical thing, but yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, I would say like, you know, you feel like there's ruminations there.
Okay, cool.
Your connection is growing stronger.
Right.
Spidey senses are tingling.
Yes.
Exactly. Good tingling this time.
Okay, well then I'm just going to jump down underneath, like I guess grab the bed.
Okay.
And then just kind of roll.
Okay.
Roll on it.
So we're gonna grab the. Well, she's still on the bed.
Oh, I thought she was lifting up.
Well, kinda, but like she's still mostly there.
Okay.
But You know what? I'm gonna say you do it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna say you grab the bed and you use that.
Just like, oh,
That's
crap, the
fine.
metal. Yeah.
I'm gonna say you
and
can
then I'll
use
just
that. So
cover it with covering myself with it.
So let's make that might.
Okay.
And then let's say speed.
Good enough. 4 dice.
Yeah, let's say might and speed. I don't know how many dice you have for that, but
that'd be 4. 2 6.
Okay. How many? 2?
Yeah, 7 and 8.
Okay. All right, let me roll for her attack here.
Okie dokie.
And we'll see
Ooh.
what happens. I'm not rolling that many dice. It's fine.
That's
He rolled
what they
4
always say.
dice. I'm rolling 5 dice. So I'm not rolling too many more. So I ended up getting 2 more successes over you.
Oh no.
Because I rolled 4 successes, you rolled 2,
Okay.
which would technically mean I would do 2 damage unless you had some way of mitigating that.
I do. So I'll just take 2 damage to health then.
So you can take 2 damage to health. That's an easy way to do it. There are conditions that you can take and stuff like that if you wanted to. I think the easiest way, because Marlin is pretty physically tough, take the 2 points. It's not that big of a deal at this point. So and conditions and stuff is like, because you'll get to a point where like if you hit 0 on either health or psyche, then you're out, right? And if either of them hit 0, you're out. So if you were to say like you got hit for 5 damage or something, you could be like, ooh, I'm gonna take 2 of that in psyche and then 3 of it in health. Like it hurt me, but it also like rattled me, and you can do that.
Okay.
But the closer you get to 0, the more you'll be like, oh, okay, well, it didn't just hurt. Like I'm gonna take a bleeding condition instead of damage, because then I'm not getting to 0. I'm messed up instead, but I'm not dead. So so that's kind of how that works. So, but 2 points is just take the 2 points, especially with as tough as he is. So cool. So that happened. And I'm going to say that basically happens for like 30 seconds or so, because you're like, you're kind of hiding behind it.
Yeah.
What are you two doing in the closet? Because like the light started flickering and you started hearing like stuff outside the door. So are you going to leave the closet?
I think because
you don't have to. You can just stay
closet.
in there if you want.
I think I will, because Wade thought of stuff, and then shit started to happen. So I think he's going to use. I'm guessing there's chaos going on, right?
Well, definitely.
In the hospital. Yes.
Oh, definitely.
I want to get access to a computer.
Okay.
So I want to go into an office or a break room or anywhere. I want to basically get into the electronic files of the hospital.
Okay. All right, cool. So as you leave the room, Mina, what's your plan? Where are you headed? Are you just going with him, or
was there 2 separate incidences of this crashing? Like, could I tell if it was just in the woman's room? Or was
at this point, it was
happening
just in the woman's
simultaneously?
room.
Okay. I'd probably try to head to the guy's room. Or no, I'll stick with Wade, because he said computery things, and I'm like, yes, I can help with that.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So what ends up happening is, so going back to Marlin for just a second, she starts, as the things are all flying around, she starts screaming at the top of her lungs, just the shrill, like, and Dr. Jones like tries to get out, and you see that she kind of looks at him almost like she's ready to kill him. Oh. So as you two are leaving the closet, you see Dr. Jones running out of the room, and you see him coming out, and he's covered in blood. It's hard to tell whether it's his own blood, because you can tell he's limping a little bit, but he is like covered head to toe in blood, because the cop's bloody body fell on top of him.
Moment.
And that's why he's not dead right now. But if you look at the hospital door, like all the window to the door is all shattered, and everything like that. So so then she flees the room. She's kind of going after him, but she also looks like she's almost panicked, like less like she's going after him because she hates him, and more like she's going after him because she feels like she's scared to not go after him. And at that point also, she's also kind of clawing at her arms to the point where she's like drawing blood, and she's yelling like, get them off me, that sort of thing. Again, remember, she was murmuring under her nightmarish breath about spiders. So when she finds the doctor on the floor, she says, you did this to me. And she releases this like wave of energy. And I know that you were gonna go look for a computer, but all machinery, all electronics, it all shuts down. So there's no lights, there's no computers, there's cell phones are dead. It's none of that. It's all gone. Nothing is working right now. And just I can clue you guys in, she is the goddess of magnetism, is what she's the goddess of. So she essentially just let off an EMP from her powers in her panic. Nice. But of course, what that means is that there's a whole bunch of people in this hospital where that is not going to go well for them. So there's that.
I like to think that Wade literally like just sat down in front of the screen and was like, okay, let's do this. And then
So I guess then the question would be, what are the three of your reactions to this scene that I just laid out before you?
How much of this are Mina and I getting? Because we're not at where she is, except so we don't see her.
Well, remember, I said you were only a few doors down, from where it was. That's so coming out of the closet, you guys saw that, and obviously Marlin, you were there, so you also saw it. So all three of you know everything that I just said. So yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, is it completely dark? Because it's still fairly early in the morning, so there's no like light out coming from.
True.
Outside.
There's a little bit of light, so it's not super dark. I know where you're going with it. You could activate your thing if you wanted to. If you wanted to be like, it's too dark, no. But you could do that. I would say, since it's only three of you, let's not do that.
Okay.
Because
we're good on Pantheon
because it's gonna be a fight. So
okay. In that case, seeing that, I would probably bring out my shining sword, and hopefully that'll give me a little bit more light so I don't go into that panicked fear moment.
There you go. Okay, cool.
I actually, because she seems confused and dangerous, can I use my Prime the Mark ability again to see if I can find out what she wants, what she needs to hear?
What I will do is I'll give you that +1 to the roll that I have here written up in the adventure. So it's an influence plus medicine roll, which is basically this is your one shot to try and calm her down.
Okay.
And it may or may not work. And I'm just say like your Prime the Mark, I'm gonna say it gives you the +1 because you're like, I kind of know what to say to her in this moment. So influence plus medicine is the roll.
Right. That's +1, that'll give me 5. Okay.
That's good. That's a good roll. All right, go for it. Let's see what you get.
I'm influential as fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
All that money.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That is 2.
2 successes.
Two
so
successes.
this does require 3. So do you want to spend free time, get Pantheon dice, or spend a fragment to get more?
How many Pantheon dice do
you guys
we have by now?
3 Pantheon dice. I'm sorry, 6 Pantheon dice right now. I don't know why I said 3. It's 6.
I'd be good for
6. We use one of those.
All right. So you use 1.
That's a 5.
Okay. Do we want to use another one?
Does wealth give you anything?
Wealth doesn't do it in this case, no.
Damn.
Could I just
but free time will give you 2. If you wanted, you can spend a free time for 2 dice.
Could I do that?
You only have 1 free time, so you can spend it if you want.
Wade doesn't. He is used to not having any free time. So I guess sure. I'll
Go for
spend
it.
Who needs it?
Roll those 2 dice then. See what you get.
it gets me 2 more dice, right?
Yes, 2 more dice. Oh yes, only fragments get you successes.
This got me 2 10s.
2 10s.
Woo!
Nice. Okay, well,
Nice.
what that also means is that you got a boost. So that's awesome because there's a special thing that happens if you get a boost. So if you had failed, then she just immediately kills the doctor. So it's like just bam, like she just dead. With a success, you actually are able to get her attention. So she takes her attention off of the doctor for a split second and puts it on you instead. So now she's going to attack you guys.
Yay.
With a boost, however, she has a reduced initiative since you got a boost. So essentially that was for you to get her attention. Because otherwise
Nice.
she would have killed the doctor right there.
Yeah.
So
Save the doctor.
say, hey, he comes into play. So
Cool.
so there is
He knows things.
so roll initiative. You'll see on your sheet in the lower right hand, there's a bonus. You roll 1d10 and add that bonus to it.
Right.
Okay. 1d10. Ooh.
bad.
That's a 9 for Mina.
9.
It is 10 for Wade.
Ooh.
Overachiever, I'm telling you.
Yeah, right.
6 and 5 is 11 for me.
An
Oh,
11?
nice. We just keep going up.
He's got +5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You got plus that. Oh yeah, you're a fighter, huh?
Yeah.
And actually, if you didn't go first, you also have the ability
I
to
can
just go first.
Yeah.
Like, he's
It costs a
like,
fragment.
nah.
Excuse me.
It's expensive. It's my last. It would be my last fragment, or no, one more fragment. But yeah, it would be,
Yeah.
Well, you have 3. You only
I got
spent
3.
1.
I got 3. I only spent 1. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you still have 2 more.
Yeah. I like how your whole personality is how slow you are and how you take your time. But if you want to, you just go first.
Just do
You can
it.
no matter what. Yeah.
Just wreck it. I'm sorry, I'm bringing up her stats real quick, and then where is that?
That's why I
Here it
picked him,
is.
actually, because I like that. That's very much like me.
So I only get a +1 to my roll. So okay, let's see what I roll then. Oh, you guys got like +5s and stuff. Let's see. I go on a 7. So because I rolled a
Nice.
6 and I only have a +1. Because she's not that powerful actually. So she's just in her moment here. Okay, cool. So Marlin goes first.
Marlin. All right. So she's like definitely flipping out. Pretty much the cop's dead, right?
Oh yeah, no, the cop is gone.
Cop's gone.
The cop is gone. The doctor is there.
Doctor's gone. No other humans in the room. No mortals in the room.
There are some people who are like running around. It's very chaotic though, so you'd be safe if you wanted to do something. You probably wouldn't get noticed in the moment.
Okay.
Depending upon how blatant it is, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of curious what soul would do with the death domain. Like what does that bring into play?
Well, the most obvious use of soul with death would be to summon a ghost.
Okay.
Like that's the easiest, thing to do there.
Okay. I didn't know about the metaphysics. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if ghosts were a thing. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, spirits are totally a thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There's a whole section in the book for all the different types of spirits.
Sweet.
Rad. Yeah. Okay, so can I? Let me see. What else is he good at? He's really good at fighting. Really, I mean, that's like the tool he's probably going to reach for.
That's kind of what he does.
Well, the pillow didn't work. Let's go ruin and fighting. Is fighting sort of like stepping into hand to hand? That's more like, I feel like that's kind of the speed.
Yeah, fighting is close up, and then marksman is ranged.
Got it.
So
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So that's
so yeah, fighting and ruin. So your intent is to inflict death upon her.
oh yeah.
Okay.
And I just look over. I just look over at me, and I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you're going with the pillow. You were right.
Okay. Well, then let's. Well, and again, like she is a threat to you right now, but also it doesn't. It she's doing it almost in self-defense. She looks panicked. She looks scared. It's not like she's like, I'm a mass murderer, ready to kill people. So so technically, anyway.
That's what I imagine all mass murderers sound like.
Yeah, it's like, hey, everybody, I'm a mass murderer.
You can talk to ghosts, right?
Kinda, not
Marlin, can
really.
you
I
talk to
have
them?
no.
Well, with soul, you can summon a ghost, and
I
then
can
you can talk to
summon
it.
them. Oh, I can talk to them.
Yeah.
Like I thought maybe you'd be like that.
Well, if you summon it, you have control. Like you can be like, I want to summon it and send it to go do something, or I can summon it and talk to it. I want to summon it and torture it. Like you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like
That would be weird.
Whatever flavor you're feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. What could I summon a spirit to like distract her momentarily then?
I'm gonna say
Or-
the
or-
distracting would be
Well,
very
listen,
difficult.
she's already
very
scared,
focused
right?
right now.
She's already scared.
She's already scared. She's very focused
Yeah.
on hurting you guys because she feels like you guys are getting in the way of her killing the doctor.
Right.
Who she now blames for everything that's happening right now to her. So, but I mean, did you roll already for your fighting and ruin?
Yeah, I for 2 dice. Yeah, 2
Two-
successes.
2 successes. Okay. 2 successes. So let me roll for her defense here. Let me see what she gets.
Or can I fight something like conceptual about her with ruin?
How so? What do you
Like,
mean?
can I fight her? Like, can I kind of sever, like, kill her connection to the magnetism a little bit?
I would say you're not able to do that.
Okay.
Just because then every god of death would
Well,
just be
yeah.
like, you can't use your, you can't do,
Nice.
Listen, it's God stuff. I don't know, man.
Hey, I'm going to say that wouldn't fall
Okay.
under death. But that's a cool idea. That's a good idea. Like I'm trying to think about like what would be the dominion that would allow you to do something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's death.
Okay.
But okay, but you got 2 successes. I actually only rolled 1 success
Okay.
on her defense, which would mean that you do 1 more than her. Plus, I think for each of those, so you're going to do 3 damage to her. So that's 3 damage.
Is that because it's a manifestation?
Correct.
Okay.
And then at this point, because fragments are awesome this way, you could spin fragments and be like, well, I just connected with her. And
Right.
now I'm gonna like
Plus
pump
3.
more death into her if you really wanted to. And then it would basically add to your number of successes and increase your damage if you wanted to do said thing.
Okay.
You don't have to, I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah, appreciate it. What do we feel, guys? Do we feel like I should go for like a kind of a 1-punch knockout here, or what do you think?
I mean, if you can talk to ghosts, we can still get information out of her if she's
That's a good.
dead.
Oh,
That's not a bad idea.
All right,
That's
fragment.
actually
She
true.
took away the light. I'm pissed, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, she took away the tech. I'm pissed as well. And
Yeah,
to be
that
fair,
too.
Well, then what I'll say is if you pump 1 into her, she'll be like pretty much near death. If you do both of your remaining ones, she is dead. Like it's just about the amount of like health she has.
I'm a little conflicted because I'm guessing Wade is pissed off at this point, but would also realize that she is probably also a victim here.
Yeah.
So Wade definitely shares the impulse,
Mhm.
but would maybe still go for constraining and bringing her down.
Yeah.
You want to say something to me? I'm fine with
I
like.
was gonna say in the moment, Marlin's fist has now connected with her jaw. And if you yell Marlin, no, then he won't pump the additional fragments
Yeah,
into
basically.
it.
Not with the pillow again. Come on.
If you say nothing, she's dead. Like so. Would Wade care that much is now the question. Like
That's the thing. Because
or would he just be like, wow, that sucks that she's also a victim in this. Wow, that sucks. or would he be like, no, she's also a victim?
Well, I think for Wade probably cares most about that she seems to be a very key figure in whatever is going on, and killing her takes her out of the equation. Wade also probably doesn't realize you can speak to ghosts. So
yeah, you're right. I think
Okay,
Mina would also
I
say
guess
something.
For, like, maybe Marlin, maybe go for a knockout,
Okay.
not a full skull crush.
You used to tell me to pull my punches at points, so I make
Yeah.
I am that kind of unpredictable, sort of like fiery. I feel like it's like, yes, yeah, let's wait back, hang back, and then and then you're kind of used to that, so you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I feel him do that, and I'm like, okay, I'll just do the one, and then I'll just like, let's see if I can knock her out.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did the 2. I would say, I guess if you spent one fragment, I'll let you say it's a knockout.
Okay. Yeah. One fragment.
Okay. So you knock her out. All right. So let me get to the end of the fight here. Hold on. So
that was easy.
well,
way to go.
Oh,
let's not be too hasty.
I was about to say, well, though.
I feel like I would be hasty though as a character.
So you
Great job.
so you knock her out and she falls to the ground unconscious. Let's see. Make anybody here can make a medicine and perception check though.
Can we all do it at a time or only one?
All of you can do it, or whoever wants to notice a thing.
I
rolled 1 die and got a 1, so I see
Ooh.
goat in the corner just hanging out, going like, man. Wasn't there before, but like somehow.
I got 2 successes.
Ooh, I got a 1 with no other successes.
Okay.
Both of us. But there's a very distracting animal.
You did such a great job. Good job. I'm so proud of you.
So what ends up happening is like you knock her out and she like hits the ground super, like her face just hits the ground super hard. But even like face down, you see her kind of grab her chest and you see her go and you notice I just gave you a Pantheon die. Because she suffers, whoever got 2 successes, she suffers a severe heart attack right in front of you. If you did not get 2 successes, you're like, yep, she's dead now. So like, you don't know why, but oh man, maybe his punch did kill her. Who knows? But if you got 2, you saw the movements of it being a heart attack of some sort. But
right,
the doctor is alive. So that is good, at least.
Those things.
And if you, it takes, I would say maybe takes 30 to 40 minutes before like the power generators start kicking back in and coming back on and stuff. But in the meantime, Dr. Jones comes over to you guys. He's like, oh my God, I'm, eternally grateful. Thank you so much, for saving me. And obviously he checks the body and he's just like, oh man, she's gone, it was such a tragic story, all that stuff. Go on. Go, Vanessa, it looked like you were gonna say something.
I was just saying it's okay. She would be right there comforting him, like the side hug. It's okay. It wasn't your fault. You did your best.
And he says, he's just like, her and her husband, like, they were both suffering from such, mental trauma. So it's, kind of crazy just that all of this just happened out of nowhere. So like he is just dumbfounded and he's, saying like, we obviously might need to check the guy's room.
Yeah, I would.
It's kind of crazy what's happening over there. Before we do that though, did you want to do anything else before you go to his room?
Wait,
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I didn't want to I'm not trying to railroad you guys, but so take a moment. What do you guys want to do?
Did she die from the heart attack? Is that what
she
just
died
happened?
from the heart attack? Yes.
Right. Okay. So we didn't
now,
kill her,
and just so you know, there other things would have happened if you had killed her versus if she died from the heart attack.
Right.
So
Fun.
crazy things. I forgot about this. So after and this is, I guess this is going to be a taste thing, I guess, of whoever wants to do this, but if you kill her, you have the opportunity to devour her spark. If you wanted to do said thing, bad stuff happens from doing said thing, but also you get power. So that is a thing with this game. We probably shouldn't belabor it too much since we have about 15 minutes, but just so you know, that is an option in this game. Is like, oh, we just killed her, and
Definitely gonna have to play this.
You didn't kill her, but she died. So now I have the option of doing that. Because bad stuff happens if a god kills another god. It's a thing.
Right.
So, because there's rules against it. There's rules. So if you go check Matt's room, I'll just say this real quick. Because I just realized the time. If you go check his room, you see that he is also missing. But he escaped through the window during all of the fighting. What's left of his handcuffs are like melted slag on the ground. They were melted.
Magma.
Oh.
He's probably going to be pretty pissed at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I'm possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible.
I'm gonna take his bed sheet that he was like. What floor are we on?
Like the third. No, I'm sorry. You're on the first because you guys were in emergency.
Oh,
Right.
So you guys were in
I'm
emergency.
out the
So you
window.
guys are on the ground floor.
Jump.
I'm gonna go to the window. I'm gonna whistle on my fingers and see if I can get Kalik back here.
All right.
And have
Put a strain on Kalik. And then Kalik is I'll hunt it down. I'll be right back. So he runs off and he will find the thing. Do you guys want to do anything in the meantime while he's gone running after the guy to find him?
I guess I want to have a quick look at my two fellow gods and just ask, guys, you have any clue what the hell's going on here?
Well, I was trying to prevent all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
And
we
then
all make mistakes.
someone was like, "No, don't do it."
If you just
You
kill
blame
people
me?
when you first meet them, come on, guys.
Can Mina look out the window, see if she sees him running, if it's soon enough afterwards, or can she see anything? Like, does she see the red eyes again? Does she see the like shadow that looks unusual or shouldn't be there, isn't natural?
Do you want to try and sense for that?
Yeah. See if that thing that I
Yeah.
originally saw is anywhere nearby.
Let's try it. Make an empathy and intuition roll. Let's see if you sense the energy again.
Okay, so that's 4 plus 2 dice. So that's 6 dice.
Oh, that's right, because she has all the empathy in the world. That's right, I forgot.
I just love people so much.
She does. Some might say she's addicted to them.
She
Like
is.
I did on her sheet. I said that.
Yes. Yeah. That's 1. That's 2 7s, 1 9. So that's 3 total successes. And I'm willing to pump other stuff into it. I'm gonna add some free time just because. Why not?
Okay.
2 more
Spend a
dice.
free
See if I
time.
can boost it. Ooh, that's 2 9s.
Whoa. Okay. Well
Wow.
then. Well then, yeah. Well, I'm gonna say you definitely sensed it.
Yay.
I'm gonna and under normal circumstances, again, I would make you make a roll versus the fear, but you're immune to fear, so you're fine. So yeah, I'm gonna say you definitely are able to sense where that might be coming from. Like, so you could follow that sense with a good roll like that. You could follow that sense to it. Kalik is already on his way there. So
Callie, can you give me a lift?
You get
he bulks out to full direwolf form.
I just really want to ride a direwolf.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you could. Let's say yes. Let's have fun with it. He sprouts a saddle too. It's magical.
Sweet.
Hate that. No saddles on Calic. He would hate that.
In that case, I think Wade is going to go like Iceman in the X-Men, who just like freezes the floor in front of him and then surfs over that. That's going to be his mode of transportation for this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a good thing that you have. See, that's the fun thing about Marlin is that like he can just make nobody be able to see the shit you're doing. Like, so I mean, they won't see the magic. They will see you flying through the air. They won't see the ice that you're making. So
just really good at sliding along the ground.
It's like, what is he? What's happening here?
He's got wheelies.
Yeah, I'll do it on the floor. I'll just
okay.
Keep it on
well, then it's just like, wow, that guy must be riding a skateboard or something. You know what I mean? It's like that's all they're gonna think.
It's like when you see dudes on the thing at the airport.
Exactly. So that happens, and Marlin, I assume you're just gonna follow after them as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going after them. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Race you there.
So, when you get a certain distance away, you just start seeing like smoking footprints like melted into the ground. Because he's walking around and he's hot, I guess. There's small fires lit here and there along the way, and it essentially brings you to the nearby park, which is if Tony was in the group, it's Tony's park is where stuff is happening. But yeah, so you eventually, find him there. And let's see here. What does it say? So you hear screams nearby. Following the sound, you get to the park and you see Matt sitting there on the bench talking to someone who isn't there. While a terrified little girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old, sits at his feet looking around wildly. When the girl spots the group, she moves to get up, but Matt grabs her by her shoulder and sits her back down without ever even looking up. As you start to get closer, you start kind of hearing what he's saying, and he's saying, I did what I had to. The Pantheon was corrupted or possessed or something. They needed to be cleansed. The whole world needs to be cleansed. Even this girl needs to be cleansed. And like the little girl starts like sobbing and crying, but he strokes her head. He's like, shh, don't worry. It'll all be over soon. We'll all be allowed into heaven. So go ahead. What are you doing, Sam?
I don't like it.
Well, so this is like fiery hot magma guy talking about cleansing the world and petting a little girl.
Yes.
I'm gonna cool this guy the fuck down.
Ooh, that's right. You are the god of cold. That is a thing.
Yeah.
So you just run up and just freeze him.
Well, my truth is that I can freeze with a look.
Yes.
So if I spend a fragment, make a discipline plus marksman plus spark check to freeze a part of the target's body, dealing plus 1 damage if successful. They suffer a -1 penalty for the rest of the scene.
Okay.
So
cool.
Whatever.
Do you want to do that?
I think so. Whatever he's the hand he is using to like caress the little girl's face, I'm gonna freeze that.
Okay. Let's do that.
Guy just seems...
Not in this case.
In like seeing this, she would immediately run towards the girl and try to like shield her and get her away from him. Okay,
well, that's 2 different things. So you wouldn't be assisting him. He would be freezing, and then you would be grabbing the girl.
Cool.
So yeah, that's cool. Marlin, do you have an instant reaction that you would like to throw, or are you just going to see kind of what happens?
I am curious about how good, like what I'm going to use that size him up thing. I'm going to see how good a fighter this dude might be.
Love it. Intuition and fighting.
Yeah. 4 intuition is hot 1, 5 dice.
Nice.
Ooh, 10, 10, 7, 5.
Nice. So what I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to give you that definitely boosted.
Yeah. Sweet.
Nice.
So looking him up and down, you notice that he seems like hot to the touch, right? Like, even like the bench he's kind of sitting on looks like it, like there's some smoldering there. The biggest thing that you notice is that his left hand, the one that was previously handcuffed to the hospital bed, it's been burned down to the bone. So it looks like to you that his heat is actually burning him, but he can't sense it. So like he's burning so hot that he will eventually kill himself. Like,
that's sick.
that's a crazy thing that you're noticing right now. So you think that he probably wouldn't be that hard of a fight. You could probably take him out because he's actually kind of already doing it to himself somewhat. If you use roll for your icy stare thing. It should tell you what to roll for that.
Your icy hot.
Yeah, one quick, because it tells me to roll marksman and discipline and spark, but I don't know what.
And everybody's spark is 1 right now. You're all like new gods, and that's experience. Is every 50 experience you go up a spark, and that going up a spark gives you a whole bunch of things. So, yeah.
For the next Let's Play.
Pretty much, right. Okay, so you are rolling that. Oh, and you get +1 because of your ring as well. Don't forget about that.
Cool.
Because you have the North Wind's ring, which gives you +1 whenever you are rolling to damage with your cold.
Right. So does it give me an extra die?
That gives you an additional die.
An additional die, okay.
Yeah, so here's the thing with his build. Your North Wind's ring gives you the additional die, but then you also have Destructive Nature as a blessing, which does 1 automatic bonus damage if you succeed in hitting. So
awesome.
Kind of, I optimized him a little bit. I'm not actually into optimization all the time, but I was like, you might as well, really. It's all right there.
It's a good thing that I got so many dice because I did roll 2 successes in the end.
Oh gosh.
If only that.
Okay. So all right, so you did 2. I'm gonna say he doesn't even actually dodge. Like he feels like he's invincible right now. However, this is the fun thing. It even says it in this adventure. It's funny. But what does it say here? It says, if you are able to extinguish his flame, essentially, with either cold or something, then immediately he realizes that he's burning. And he is no longer now protected from his pain. And he just starts screaming in pain before he goes into shock, and he passes the fuck out. So it's like, literally you doing that ended the fight before it even began. Because that's the way I wrote the adventure. I don't know why I did that. Because if Wade's not there, then it's a whole fight, right? But if Wade's there, it's like,
this guy's my natural enemy or my natural prey, actually. Because what is he gonna do against me? Yeah,
super effective.
And I'm not gonna make you guys make like a medicine check or anything. Like you can tell, like, and especially Marlin, because you already noticed what was happening. And then immediately he senses his own pain, passes out. So he's in shock, will likely die if he doesn't get any medical attention. That's just how that works. And if you guys just don't help him at all, then he will eventually just be eaten by his own flame and he will just turn into cinder. Because that is the nature of God powers when they go out of control. And in the meantime, when you were doing that, Mina was swooping in to help the little girl, and you were able to rescue her, and that was awesome, and you got her out of the way. And that's technically our time. And so I will wrap up by telling you what the last scene is of the thing. And the last scene is that the little girl starts clapping and says, "Wow, this was so much fun." and she's actually an evil thing that was toying with these gods and just messing with them. She is
Children
a
are the
dragon.
worst.
She's actually a dragon, and in this world, dragons are crazy powerful in this game. Like you can't even play as a dragon. You can't, because they're too powerful. So antagonists, because otherwise it's game breaking. And that's why you can't sense her spark. Like it was just like, we're gonna try and sense, like, nope. She can hide it whenever she feels like it, or allow you to sense it when she wants you to sense it. And that's what she was doing, is she was preying on their fears. Rebecca was very scared of spiders, and she was she was seeing spiders everywhere crawling on her constantly. Matt was a different story, because Matt was very religious. There's a whole backstory in the written adventure, but he's very religious, and she started making him see everyone as demons that needed to be cleansed. And that's why he became a god, was to cleanse the world. So she started basically just messing with them because she wanted to. And then you have the option to basically then fight her if you wanted to, but even if you fought her for a few rounds, if you were winning, she'd just leave, and she'd be like, this isn't any fun. And then she'd just be a bad guy to come back later. Or she would like smack you guys down. And that's the other option is what would happen. So you're not actually meant to defeat her. This is more of a fun, like, introduction to dragons adventure.
It's like running into Strahd in the first session.
Yes, exactly. Which I wouldn't suggest this for a first session unless you were doing a 2-hour game where you really wanted to be like, hey, by the way, this game is awesome because I really like this adventure. It's well written. And I wrote this one, so that is me patting myself on the back a little bit. But also, I have written other adventures that weren't written this well. So I will say I did a good job on this one. And basically the conclusion of the game is Neilra is her name, and she would survive, and the GM could use her in future stories. If Matt survived, then he could be a potential ally. He could join the Pantheon, if you did actually rush him to the hospital and whatnot. There was no way to save Rebecca. If you was either you killed her or she died of the heart attack. If Dr. Jones survives, you might be able to have him create him as a bond for future reference, and be like, oh, cool. We need medical information. Let's call up Dr. Jones. And then you'd be like, cool. And he would just be added to one of your sheets as a new bond.
Nice.
Which is a fun way to kind of use them. So that's the adventure, though. And then the conditions are you would get experience points for the session. And then for finishing the adventure, which we've sped through a lot of it, it should take maybe 2 or 3 sessions to finish it all. You would get 1 additional experience point if you helped save people in the explosion zone, which no one did here. You would get one experience point if you gathered at least 5 unique pieces of information on the gods, which I think you guys only did 1 information gathering. So you got 2 pieces of information. So you wouldn't get that one.
Yeah.
Did you defeat Matt? Yes. So you would have gotten that one. Defeat Neilra is the other one, and Neilra is the god of fear. A dragon of fear, excuse me. And the way that she fights is she makes all of you make a fear check. And if you fail, then you have to now fight your friends. So you're not just fighting her, you're also fighting each other, except for Mina, because Mina's immune. So
I feel like we picked the right, all 3 of us.
It was a good group. Actually, you guys did a good job.
Yeah.
And then the last one is you succeeded at least 1 fear check. That's the other experience point. So that's how the game is structured, is you get session stuff, but after completing stories, you get stuff based on conditions of that story and whether you kind of played through it the way that it was kind of hinted at that you should do.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Part-Time Gods. We're supposed to talk a little bit about it at the end here, which I was supposed to do, and I didn't do. I should have stopped like 10 minutes ago. But we're supposed to talk about possible therapeutic applications. What I have encountered when I've run this for other cohorts is the discussion about obviously being in modern times, it kind of hits a little bit closer to home, a lot of the stuff, but also the time management, and stuff like that, wealth management. Like those are key parts of the game, which I was kind of paying attention to here and there, but I wasn't harping on it too much. But Wade had actually gotten to 0 free time. And what would have happened is, if I was running it the right way, is when you guys were entering the park at 0 free time, I would have said, everybody has to pay me a free time to go to the park. And if you don't have any, then I go to your character sheet and I go, okay, well, one of your bonds needs your attention because you're out of free time. You have to attend to something in your life now. So in this case, I could be like, oh, it's, your office is calling because all of the servers are down and it's terrible. And like, what are you going to do? And you could be like, well, I mean, I'm hunting a dragon, so I probably can't just leave this and go handle that
later.
Go role play a board meeting.
Right. So, I mean, so then you have the option, and if there were like higher stakes and stuff involved, but essentially you would have the option to leave what you're doing to go handle it, or ignore it, which causes strain, which, basically damages it. And if you damage something, if you damage your bond so much, then it drops, and then you actually take on negative consequences from the levels dropping of it, because you might take on guilt, or you might take on like bloodlust, something like that. I have and there are characters who start off with failings, like they just start off because like, we're just messed up because we're gods, but none of these characters have that. But yeah, so there's a bunch of different failings that you end up getting if you fail your bonds, and your bonds can be physical things. So like, oh, I rolled randomly for where that explosion was going to happen. Guess what? It happened near Mina's worshipers. So bam, strain on the worshipers. Now, when she would drop down to 0 free time, I'm going to have those worshipers say, Mina, we need your help with something. And if you ignore them, you're going to strain them further. And eventually, they're only going to be able to take so much strain before that relationship starts breaking. The fun thing also about the game is the higher spark you get, the fewer bonds you can have. So if you have a bunch of bonds, the more powerful you become, you have to be like, okay, well, I have 4 bonds, but I can only have 3 now. So which one of these am I going to cut out of my life and take all of the negative consequences for doing that in the pursuit of godly power? But also, like I had one character who was a politician, and like he had a group bond, which was like his kids, because he didn't really like any of them individually. I was just like, he's just his kids. And then he had his wife, and then he also had his mistress. So like those are his 3 bonds. And then he had like his manager, like because he was a politician, like his like person who, like, not assistant, but like his booker or whatever. And I was like, when we had gotten to that point, he's just like, well, obviously I'm going to get rid of the booker. And I'm like, well, but now you have no one to really kind of organize your political life. So is that really the option you want to take? It's just like, oh, well, maybe I'll get rid of my mistress. Well, but you really love her though. So it's like, it becomes this kind of
very
crazy
cool
thing.
Consequence.
Yeah. And it's a fun game. And that's why this game really works. It works really well long-term. One shots is good, but like a lot of what's built into this game is for long-term play. So
just get rid of the children. They're probably dragons anyways.
Probably. Well, and it wouldn't even be necessarily like, it's not like you wouldn't have kids anymore, but it would just be like, there would just be 0 relationship with them anymore. Like I'd be like, okay, well, you sever that relationship. Tell me how you sever that relationship. And then you have to basically describe this terrible thing. What terrible thing did you do? It wasn't just that you didn't return a phone call. No. It has to be way worse than that.
Oh joy.
So anyway, do you guys have any questions for me about the game or anything?
I like
I
it.
just want to know when I can play next.
Yeah.
No, it's a good game. I enjoy 2 things about it. 1, it's relatively simple mechanically. 3, there's a lot of elegant interconnected parts.
Yes.
I appreciate how the flaws are there, give you incentive to take the game off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I think it's cool.
And that's a good point, because that's something I was telling Sam and Vanessa before you had showed up, is I had said, like, it reads more complicated than it is. And it's kind of like what you just said, because there's a whole bunch of moving parts to a very simple mechanic.
Yeah.
But there's just so many things that are all feeding into roll some d10s and tell me what you get. So
is it because it is relatively simple as a player? How complex is it to GM?
Oh, it's super easy, because I literally just make up stuff off the top of my head. I just go like, oh, how many successes? How hard is this? All I have to do is say, do I want 1 to 5 difficulty? And I'll be like, cool, this one's a 2. See if you can roll 2.
Yeah.
And a lot of the game becomes a negotiation, right? Because I can say, like, kind of like what I was saying before, like, okay, cool. If you want to try and talk her down, it's going to be an influence in medicine.
Right.
Now you guys could be like, oh no, we're really bad at that. Can I do something like, can I exchange influence for perform? Maybe I pretend to be a doctor. So I'm gonna switch that one out for perform. So it can be like that. And I might go like, yeah, that's fine. Or I might say, well, you can use that, but I might up the difficulty by 1, or something to that effect. But the game is kind of all about really being kind of free and creative with what you're rolling.
That's another thing I really like, is how every roll is a combination of 2 skills, which makes what you're doing a lot more subtle than just rolling an investigation, or you get this sub layer to everything you're doing, which makes it much more precise. I like it.
Yeah.
Almost makes it feel more realistic in a way. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I really enjoyed the fact that I got to ride a dire wolf and hug a fear dragon. So that was my 2 takeaways. Yeah.
Those are two pretty awesome things, I will say.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, cool. I think we can probably end the stream now. So thank you, everybody, for coming and playing, and for watching. If you're watching on Twitch, I don't even know how to tell if anybody was watching, but if you're watching, hi.
Thanks a bunch, Eloy. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.